This is Ultimate Soccer with Soccer Steve.
And welcome back in, guys. We're talking a little Canadian soccer history. If you haven't heard this one, it's because you've never heard of the team. This was the A-League and also the WSL. There were two teams connected to the Edmonton Aviators Soccer Club. Isn't that a nice badge, eh? Have a look at that badge. Eh? Just for a minute, have a look at that badge. That's the one thing that them guys got right with this team, was a lovely badge. The Aviators. Startling, really great badge. Even on the ball. Edmonton Aviators, there's the ball, got that too. Never left me. I've also got some other stuff I'm going to show you as we move through, just to keep you activated in this, interested, call it what you will. But the thing is, they came to town and there was a big buzz in Edmonton. I just finished broadcast school, was part of TSN 1260 right from the beginning, and obviously spent years at TSN 1260. And I'm watching the birth of a soccer club, and I'm like, I got to get into that. So I went down, met with Brent McDonald, and he was the business manager. We talked, and they were floundering then. He was asking me for some information on what we could do better, and I was absolutely in shock that they were not better prepared. Not a dig, just a reality. They really didn't know what was coming at them. Beautiful, beautiful. 19 owners in that group for the Edmonton Aviators Soccer Club. But they really didn't have an idea of what was coming to them. Bless their hearts. Try to get a soccer club together. That's not easy. So I applaud the people in Edmonton that tried to get this team off the ground. And unfortunately it didn't. Why didn't it work? Well, they were looking at the women's U20. It was U19. But they were looking at the U20 World Cup that was hosted in Canada, more so where Edmonton played a massive role and the young women did fantastically. This soccer club and its 19 owners thought that that was the promotion tool for the A-League. The A-League is an unknown now. It was an absolute unknown then. Your women's national teams were not unknowns. So when you're trying to gauge national soccer crowds to A-League or USL or any of the smaller leagues, I wouldn't try to take that on, because you really won't get the right numbers. They didn't get the right numbers, and within 3 months the club was folding. Now, credit to the club, they stuck around and they played out the season. Obviously the commissioner had words with the ownership group and said, listen, we'll support you financially till the end of the season. You've got to keep going. We don't need a black eye of you dropping out, so you've got to keep going. Credit to the team, and credit to Ross Ongaro, who was the coach, and Joe Petroni, who was the general manager. Credit to those guys that they got the team to the end of the season. There was also a player revolt. It wasn't a great time. There was a player revolt going on, and, you know, Rick Titus ended up leaving the club. I knew Rick well, still know Rick, great guy, but he'll tell you what he's thinking, and that's exactly what happened on the day. Rick eventually left, wanted to come back. Joe Petroni said, not happening. And that was that. And eventually the season would come drawing close to an end with a miserable, miserable record. You can go online and check it. I'm going to put some links up. You can check them too, and it backs up this story, and it backs up that I actually was there. But check them out too. Links are going to be down below from the Edmonton Aviators, etc., from TSN 1260, etc. So you can see that I back up my story with legitimacy. Got to say, the financial bankruptcy that came at the club, 19 owners. When you put a club together, you do not need 19 owners. That was probably one of the worst things of it. Bless their hearts. Like I say, not a knock, but you need a more condensed ownership group. 2 or 3, 1 ideally, would have been the way to go. So they played out the season, and I've got to say, credit to Ross Ongaro. He took a lot of, I would say, flack from the soccer community. And another thing that wasn't really sitting well with me was when they trained out of a high school. I've never seen a professional soccer club train at a high school. That for me was a little bit of a warning or a red flag that things weren't going absolutely as they should be. So, as we move on, I'm going to show you some other stuff. Here's an in-game program from the Edmonton Aviators. That's Jamie Lepresti on the front. He was one of the better players on the team. Still got that. It's amazing what I've still got. I've also got one of the programs from the women's team. Yeah, women's team. And inside that, I'm not kidding you, that's a script from one of the games that I still have. Sorry about the flashing lights. Also, something else. Here's another program there from June 21st. And they really did a great game. CFRN was involved with it. You know, if you're looking at the actual program, it's all really nicely laid out. Said your stats and your players and everything in there. You know, it was really well put together. Advertising everywhere. It was a great deal. It was an absolute great deal. The game day programs for the Aviators was on the money. It really was on the money, got to say. Now, the funny part of this story is when I knew the team was going to be defunct, and they finished dead last. The men's team had a rotten season. The women's team under Janine Helland and Lou McAndry, they did phenomenally well. And had they had the right financial supporting, I think there probably would still be a big women's team in Edmonton right now. Yes, you've got FC Edmonton, and that was spawned off the back of the Aviators. But towards the end, they stiffed me on my cheque. I did a lot of announcing at 3 different events, 3 different stadiums for the Aviators. They're great people, don't get me wrong. But they stiffed me on my cheque. So I thought, okay, I'm not exactly going to get even, but I want to get something for my money. I want to be paid in some way. And where they were working from, the building downtown in Edmonton, well, eventually when the doors were locked by the city, so no one could get access, it meant, well, I'm not going to get a check and I'm not going to see anybody, so I've got to have some fun with this. And I was sitting outside the building, and it was the Edmonton Aviators FC Soccer Club house. It's a lovely building. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking out there, and all of a sudden, boom, a light goes on. And that light went on, and I unscrewed this from the wall. And I've got 3 of these. I got 3 of these in my collection, and they're aluminum. But I got 3 of them for posterity's sake, you know. Edmonton Aviators, woo, Edmonton Aviators. I'll tell you what, getting those signs off the wall could have got a slap on the wrist, but I told them after the fact, and they were okay with it. And you know what, at the end of the day, I'd say this much, it was a sad day when they folded, but I kind of expected it. And I want to show you 2 things. Didn't they have a lovely home jersey, hey? Isn't that a lovely jersey? Have a look at that. What a lovely jersey that is. Yeah? Absolutely gorgeous. And the road jersey was the same style, but just different colours. I tell you, they had some great merchandise. Edmonton Aviators got the shirts. They're 18 years old. Edmonton Aviators went defunct in 3 months. It was the quickest ever demise of a professional football club on the planet. There you go. So, as we say, that's the Canadian bit of history. I got all the gear. I can still write the stories and let you know how it went. There you go, guys. Edmonton Aviators Soccer Club from Edmonton. Today we have Edmonton FC. But this is something you're never going to see again. I thought you'd like to know about that. Edmonton Aviators, defunct soccer club that gave Edmonton such a massive black eye. But I've got to tell you, one day they'll get it right. Calgary's getting it right. I'd like to see Edmonton follow suit. But yeah, there you go. Edmonton Aviators. Now you know some more Canadian history. And they were a lot of fun to work with. We had an average of 1,000 fans. And the guy that was in charge of it all was a guy called Wiley Stafford. And shutting this down, Wiley Stafford was the boss, and he had things done his way. Back in history, there's a guy called Harry Stafford. Look up Harry Stafford and Manchester United, more so Newton Heath. Harry Stafford was in charge of the club, the Newton Heath Railway team, that used to get about 1,000 fans a game. The Edmonton Aviators used to get 1,000 people at the games under Wiley Stafford. How funny is that? Anyway, I'll leave you with that. A defunct Canadian professional soccer team, and the reason why I'm bringing it is because they weren't prepared for what was coming at them, and financially they weren't ready. CPL. Be ready financially and be ready with what's coming at you. You're already 3 years in the go, 4 years on the ride here. It's looking pretty good, but the danger signs are still there. We need to get the attendances up, and we need that visual on the other side of the field, One Soccer, to be filled with the fans sitting behind the camera. Okay guys, there's a few ways to promote a soccer team. Unfortunately, Edmonton's been trying for decades. It's still yet to happen. One day with mucho dollar, it'll happen, because it's going to take a lot of money to get a team in Edmonton to actually work. But again, for today, Edmonton Aviators, part of it. It was a great time. There's the shirts. There's a hoodie. You've seen the signs. You've seen the ball. You've seen the programs. They had everything set up beautifully. Just not financially. Okay, guys. Now you know some more. Take it easy. See you in the next show. And please subscribe and hit the notification button if you haven't already. That's how we grow. If we keep growing, we don't end up being defunct and going out of fashion or not being on YouTube anymore. It's up to you guys. Hit it. And hit it hard and spread it. Big up to Edmonton, a city I know well. And again, I love this stuff, but it just didn't last long enough in Edmonton. Thank you very much. Have a great night, guys. And get ready for the next show. Cheers.
This is Ultimate Soccer with Soccer Steve.